Hello from Sense Studio. This is Tom and Bobby. We're going to do a little FI demonstration about how FI could be a dancing between two nervous systems of a teacher and a student. We're going to take a part of a lesson, and most of us know this is lengthening the arm, but we're not going to focus on the arm because in that lesson, you also lengthen the leg and the knee. And we're going to be focusing more on that today, how we can do that little part of an ATM and how we can build this into an FI dance. And a good dancer can do both. A good dancer can lead, but they can also follow. And we're going to be playing that idea of the practitioner first watching what the student's doing, then following the student leads the dance. And then once the practitioner has an idea of how the student is dancing, how the student is moving, the practitioner is going to lead the dance in that way. So we'll kind of take it in that step. So Bobby, the movement is going to be moving the top knee just a little bit in front of the bottom knee and then coming back.
Forward? Is that what you're asking?
Forward, yes, it just comes a little forward and back.
And it just returns, right?
And yeah, and just returns. We'll just start with that now. Now, some people may not do the movement in this way. So what I would do is if Bobby was having trouble, if she misunderstood, Bobby, move the knee up towards your head. Yeah, so if she was doing something that like that instead, what I could do is I could just put my finger lightly on her knee and just say, Bobby, push my finger forward. And then she has the movement like that. Okay, so that's the movement we're looking for. So first thing I'm going to do, because we're thinking about the knee coming forward, is I'm going to just put my hand between Bobby's knees and let her knee rest on my hand. And then I have my other hand here. And I'm going to have Bobby do the same movement, a little forward, coming back. And I'm just going to notice how she's doing this movement. And if I want, I can close my eyes. So Bobby's leading the dance, and I'm being a good dance partner. I'm following and listening to what she's doing. And then I can also watch. I can notice what's coming to the ground, what's coming away from the ground, how far up the movement's going, how far down. Okay, Bobby, and you can just take a moment to rest. Now, what we can do to transition, Bobby's going to start the dance, lead the dance. Go ahead, Bobby. And I may just take her a little bit further and then bring her back. Bobby starts. I go a little bit further. I take her back. And I'm listening. Okay. I take it a little farther and then I'm bringing Bobby back the same way. Okay, pause, Bobby. And then once I feel like I pretty much have Bobby's way of doing it, now I'm leading the dance and Bobby's gonna listen and follow. He's just listening, noticing how far the movement comes up, how far the movement goes back down. And then we can expand on this. I may be interested. I see Bobby's pelvis movement. I see movement in the lower back. But I may be interested, like, what happens with the one foot on top of the other foot. So now I can just have one hand kind of supporting Bobby's foot, the other hand supporting Bobby's knee. Go ahead, Bobby. And now we can kind of do the same thing here. And now I'm getting an idea of how Bobby's feet respond to the movement of the knee. Once I have the feeling of what Bobby's doing by dancing with her and letting Bobby lead, now I can take her just a tiny bit more and bring her back. Tiny bit more and bring her back. Okay. And then once I have the feeling of how Bobby's moving, now I'm leading the dance and Bobby's just listening and following. And we give Bobby a little rest. Now we can work in different ways. You can put your hands on places that interest you, or you can just kind of work systematically up. We went from the knee kind of down toward the ankles and the feet. If we want to, we can also think about movement from Bobby's knee toward the back of her head. And again, we can do the same thing. Bobby can just come a little in front, then a little in back. And just having my hands here brings Bobby's attention to these two parts of herself. And this is very valuable. If somebody's having problems with an ATM and they want to see you for an individual session, just listening to how they're doing the ATM may be more valuable than you doing the movement for them. Okay, so Bobby starts, and again, I can go a little bit more and bring her back. So I'm getting a feel of the movement. I'm trying to keep at her speed and her pace. I noticed I was rushing it. Okay. And then I can do the movement for Bobby. There we go. Yes. And I can think, how do we initiate? Do we initiate from the pelvis? It's one way the dance can go. Or do we initiate from the knee and feel how that goes through the pelvis? Is there one way that a little easier for Bobby than the other way? And then continuing on, so we kind of worked in back at the pelvis. And now we can see the relationship between the pelvis and the ribs. I can just kind of figure out where is a good place where I can kind of put my hands to get a sense of what she's doing. And this time we're going to go a little differently and change it up. Bobby, you're going to move your top knee a little backwards, a little behind the other knee, and then come back. Yes, and now there's a particular timing to this. can enhance it a little bit, bring Bobby back. Okay. Let Bobby rest for a moment. Right, and then when I'm gonna have her do it a couple of more times. Go ahead, Bobby, bring the movement back a little. Okay. Now I'm doing it with her because I wasn't sure how she was going, but now I can do the movement for Bobby because I have a little better feel of what she's doing. Now we do have the choice. We can just stay with the movement and continue ourselves working up. We may want to explore the shoulder blade and the arm. Or what we may want to do is work with a little differentiation. So what we can do to change it up with the differentiation, Bobby's going to bring her pelvis a little back. Good, and come to the starting position. Okay, and while you bring your pelvis back, see if you can roll your ribs a little forward. So your belly goes toward the floor. Right. Your belly button's going to move to the floor as you move. Okay, let's do this slow because this is different. And you know what? Tell you what, let's do it this way. Move your pelvis a little forward and backwards. So the knee goes a little in front and a little behind, right? So you have this movement. And can you feel how your pelvis is going? Your pelvis is moving forward and back, and you can feel your ribs kind of go the same way, right? Okay, so how would you take your ribs in the opposite direction? So as your pelvis moves backwards, your rib cage would go forward. Bobby, are you asleep?
No, I'm not asleep.
Okay.
Was I supposed to do something?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What did you want me to do?
Okay, so what you can think about doing, move your elbow and your knee a little forward and back. Good, and back. All right, and now we can do this. We can feel, go ahead, elbow and knee coming a little forward and back. And we can feel how she's getting this together. And now if we want to differentiate, elbow goes forward while the knee goes back. There you go. And then the other way. Go ahead, keep on. Yep. Do it slow, gently. So now we're differentiating here. We can see the rib cage and the pelvis differentiating from each other. And I'm going to bring Bobby back. And we can slow it down. Okay, pause. And then what I can do is, I can feel that's not quite it. So if it doesn't feel like I quite have the movement, I'm going to have Bobby do it again. Go ahead, Bobby. Elbow, knee. There we go. Elbow and knee. And it's kind of a complicated movement. So now I'm doing it with Bobby. And Bobby, you can slowly stop doing the movement. So if it's a hard movement to find, and this one definitely is, that's what you can do is you can follow, you can do it with her, and then you can have Bobby just listen, then you can lead. So Bobby starts leading, you're following, and you and Bobby are doing the movement together. And then finally you're leading and the student is listening and going with.
Okay, did you want me to move again?
Uh, Tell you what, let's do one more, and maybe what we'll do is we'll just find the shoulder blade and the rib cage. Okay, so let your elbow and your knee come forward and backwards again.
The elbow and knee go forward. Is that-
Yeah, yep, and then back. Yeah, so we can feel that. Okay, now I'm doing it with Bobby. We're both doing it together. And now I'm doing it for Bobby. Good. Okay, so now the elbow goes backwards, the knee goes forward. So knee goes into my finger, elbow goes away from my finger. There you go. And then reverse it. There we go. So now, well, we're really feeling how the shoulder blade can differentiate from the rib cage. And I'm doing it with Bobby. And eventually I can kind of do it for Bobby. And you can just keep working like that, all the way even connecting to the head. If you want to connect the pelvis to the head and feel how that goes, you can do that. Or you can feel how it goes with the ribs. There we go. But that's the general idea is you think of the functional integration lesson as a dance. And the first thing is letting the student lead the dance because they know how they want to move. They know what they're going to do. They know what their pattern is just by doing it. And you're listening and learning what their pattern is. And then what you can do is enhance the pattern a little bit and bring it back. So now you're actively working with the pattern a little bit more. And then once you feel like you have a sense of what this pattern is, then see if you can do the movement the same way that the student does. And this is a wonderful practice to really refine your FI skills. So you develop that sense and that skill to be able to move the way the student would in the easiest path. And that's the way you open up the door. If we're talking to the nervous system or to what the student's sensing, you open the door by finding that easy way. And then eventually you can start to explore different ways. And so, for example, we found the easy way with Bobby's knee like this. And we found how she could move like that. And then, maybe we're So we have this, we have the initial movement, but then we can, we're kind of exploring something a little different pattern like this. Or maybe we explore a little different pattern like that. Or maybe we explore something with the foot like this. So we have so many different things we can do. But the idea is to really get in sync with our dancing with one particular dance first, get that dance down so we're working very smoothly together, and then we can change up the dance a little bit, right? We can do the dance a little bit differently. We can add to it in a particular way. So hopefully that helps you understand that idea of functional integration being a dance between two nervous systems, and it will give you a few things that you can play with, bringing this idea of dancing, working with functional integration. We had Martha Morehouse with us on Zoom, and she had a great idea of another thing to look for in this video. And that is, how does the teacher dance with themselves during the FI? And we usually call this self-use. So what you can do is just watch the video again and watch how I'm kind of using myself and dancing with myself as I do this process with Bobby. And the dancing that I'm doing, whether I'm leading or following, is pretty much the same. So the nice thing is, as I follow Bobby, I can kind of get my own rhythm and self-use going on with the dance, which makes it easier when I'm leading the dance. So that's something that you can look for and keep an eye on. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you another time.